It's executive producer RJ here, just letting you know with either my face or my voice, depending on if you're watching the video or listening to the audio version, that things are going to be a little bit different in terms of how we're putting out the podcast. If you listen to the end of this episode, it will explain everything. Now, without further ado, here's the show.
Welcome to another episode of Stack Your Points. As always, I'm Matt from Matt Clausen YouTube channel, joined by RJ from Do You Take Cards? RJ, how are you today?
I am doing fantastic today, Matt. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Got a new card approval just before the weekend started, so I'm waiting for that. American Express seems to be over-promising, and under-promising and over-delivering. So we'll see when I get the card.
How does it feel to be on the MR train now, Matt? I know this is not your preferred train, but it is a train.
I'm just going to ram those points into Hilton, so I'll probably just be fine. So we'll move on with Tariq. Tariq, how are you today, sir?
I am good. And sticking to the topics of cards, I'm slowly chipping away at my sub for the IHG Premier Business. And I think by middle of next month, I should probably hit it. So gonna have a little over 140,000 IHG points to play with and start dabbling in that brand.
Fantastic. And we're also joined, as always, by, I'm just going to start calling him Professor Lani, but Lani from the Call Me Lani channel. How are you today, sir?
Why professor, may I ask?
Oh, you have all the knowledge, and you just happen to drop it.
Professors drop knowledge? Or do they give it willingly to their pupils?
You know, considering what sort of student I was, I can't fully answer that properly.
All right, take notes, everybody. Grab your notebooks. But I'm doing all right. Today was a good day. I'm not going to be mad at it. And to quote Ice Cube, that is. But yeah, and you mentioned Hilton, because I'll go ahead and drop the bomb right here. And this is not a flex alert, but I've already talked about over the last 2 weeks. If you have a United card, if you're not booking like crazy right now, you're literally leaving money and trips on the table. I have 2 trips at 2 different Waldorf Astorias, of course, Hilton properties, and I'm looking very forward to them.
Fantastic. Yes, I did mention that I got a new credit card before the beginning of the weekend. I was approached by American
We weren't
Express.
recording when you said that, so I just said a whole bunch of stuff completely out of context. I just realized that.
No worries. So I recently was approved for the American Express Blue Business Plus. Got a nice welcome offer, an elevated welcome offer of 25,000 points on $3,000 in spend. And I can always move those points to Hilton, whether it's a transfer bonus or the regular 2-to-1. And since my previous card with American Express was the Hilton Honors, Hilton is a brand I like. So I have an easy place to put those points, and I do have some relatively large spend to hit with that card. And Blue Business Plus, no annual fee, seemed to be a win all around. Oh, and American Express decided to give me a $23,000 credit limit on that card.
Nice. I will add that in one of my Waldorf Astoria bookings, no one is a fan of the Amex travel portal. It's usually pretty bad. But if you have Amex Platinum, I got 30% off from the points redemption itself. It actually made it a very good redemption without having to transfer them out to Hilton. So FYI for all y'all listeners out there, go check it out.
And if you have the Platinum card, you have gold status with Hilton that gets honored automatically through the Amex portal.
Yes, sir.
So there we go. Well, with those pleasantries out of the way, we're going to start with basics of the week. So we're going to start with our back to basics. We have a basics topic of transfer partners 101. What are transfer partners and why do we obsess over them? So my very top level answer, transfer partners are travel partners that banks have agreements with. When you sign up for a credit card with the bank, whether it's Chase, American Express, as we've talked about, Citi, Wells Fargo, and BILT are the big transfer currencies. Oh, Capital One. I forgot Capital One. Sorry, everyone does. The bank has a list of partners that they have agreements with. You can take your points, whether it is membership reward points with American Express, Chase Ultimate Reward points, Wells Fargo points, Capital One miles, BILT points, and move those to the transfer partners, typically on a one-to-one basis. I mentioned Hilton before. Hilton is an American Express transfer partner, and I can move my American Express points to Hilton. For every 1 point that I send over from American Express, Hilton gives me 2 points. So some partnerships are really nice that way. Other partnerships have weird have weird rates. I did mention American Express. They also have a partnership with JetBlue, another company that I've talked about with a transfer partner. That rate is something like 0.8 point. It's weird because I think you move 250 American Express points, you get 200 JetBlue points. Make that make sense? I can't. But that is my very top, like 30,000 foot view. But let's drill down a little bit further. We'll start with RJ. RJ, any other facets of transfer partners that I'm missing here?
So one of the things that I talk about a lot, Lani also hits on it quite a bit as well, is when you sort of get into credit cards, one of the first things or one of the major things you want to do is take a look at transfer partners, and picking your partners really does matter, and it really does make your life a lot easier, right? So if you're a big Hyatt person, as at least two of the people on this this podcast are, getting Amex and expecting to be able to transfer to Hyatt is just not going to work, right? They're not a transfer partner. But if you get Chase cards, as one especially person on this podcast likes to do, you are able to transfer those points to Hyatt, right? So if you know what you like to stay at or you know what you like to fly, I'm a big Delta person. I'm a big Amex person because of it, right? Which we'll get into at some point, I'm sure. So I knew I had to get some Amex cards. Now I happen to like a lot of Amex cards. They work for me for Marriott, which is also a transfer partner of Amex. So for me, the transfer partners in Amex work really well together. And once I knew that, it unlocked a lot of easier options for me. I didn't have 50 dining cards to look at. I really just had 2 or 3 that worked, unless I want to get into, hotel cards or airline cards. And then it opens it up a little bit more. So picking your partners, knowing what you like to stay at, knowing what you like to fly. If you do international travel, then look at that. If you don't and have never been out of the country and don't plan to for the next 5 years, then maybe don't bank on, oh, I want to use this transfer partner because I want to go to Spain. Well, when are you going to Spain? Well, probably 2035. Well, maybe don't get that partner right now. Maybe get it in 2033, right? So that is, to me, I think one of the things about transfer partners that is really important is picking your transfer partners, understanding what you like, and then going from there, because it will cut down your number of choices, but it will make your choices a lot simpler so you don't have that sort of analysis paralysis that a lot of people go with.
Absolutely. And we're going to throw over to Lani next.
Okay, thank you. So RJ stole my favorite line of pick your partners. So when it comes to transfer partners, it's incredible. Well, first off, the definition that Matt gave was actually very, very detailed and accurate. Who would have thought that Matt would be 100% accurate? Never, not me. Love you, Matt. Anyway, when it comes to transfer partners and picking your partners, it's actually very, very, very important to make sure that you choose the correct card and the most effective card in whatever strategy that you're building for yourself. So I'm going to use my examples, but don't say because Lani said it, I had to go do Lani's strategy. My strategy, I already know, does not work for everyone. So make a strategy that works for you and use me as a reference point to build a strategy that works for you. But when it comes to transfer partners, I think one of the things that people don't talk about or talk about enough or talk about openly is how they build status into their strategy from those transfer partners. So once again, going to my example, everyone knows I'm a United person. I've been self-proclaimed, I've been community proclaimed the United guy. Also kind of like an IHG guy, and I'm a Chase person. You've all heard me talk about Built a lot, even though I really only have 3 Built videos, but I'm also kind of like a Built guy too. Um, but the reason why is going back to everything I just said. When I pick my cards, why am I Chase? Because Chase transfers to United and IHG. If I ever needed those United miles or IHG points, I can easily know I can do that. And the same thing with Built. I've also mentioned, even at the beginning of this, that I do have an MX. I do have 2 Amex, well, technically 3, but I have the Amex Gold and the Amex Platinum. My first Amex card is a student card. It's just active. I don't ever touch it. I forget I even have it sometimes. But anyway, so I have 3, but technically I'm going to say 2. And I've called that my plan B strategy because if you are know Amex, you know they don't transfer to United. They also do not transfer to IHG. And I've gotten this question a million times, like, why do I have them? Well, when I'm not staying at a IHG or when I need something outside of my plan A strategy, I have transfer partners that can help fill in those gaps, which is how I just got this really awesome redemption at a Hilton, well, Waldorf Astoria by Hilton property, whatever the official title is. Matt, keep me honest there, whatever they officially call it. But on top of that, transfer partners and building your status around said transfer partners also bring you status, or what we'll call co-branded status. So like a hotel status, like a Gold or even like a United, will give you President Circle or Avis Preferred at a rental car company, which is another discount, another layer in this travel strategy game. But if you're just going all left, right, willy nilly, just picking whatever cards, and I'll say it like this because we've all been there. You'll find yourself in a position where you need, call it 50,000 points, and you have 60,000 points. They just spread across 4 different partners. And then you're like, I don't have enough points for this one partner. So that's why pick your partners is important and build a strategy around that that works for you. And that's where transfer partners come in. But that's my 2 cents because Matt already gave a great definition.
Thank you as always. And yeah, the statuses, Hilton specific are silver, gold, platinum, silver, gold, diamond. But you get varying increases in your earnings with those as well when you stay at Hilton's and things like that. Same with airlines, same with Hyatt, same with IHG. But Tariq, anything else to add in here?
So, Matt, you hit the transfer partner definition on the head, so I can't really add on to that. But I will say this. For all the students taking Professor Lani's Points and Miles 101 lecture, if there's not a single thing that you learned in the entire lecture, you just know. It's been said dozens of times here, pick your partners. He says that after syllabus week. It's the big thing that he's going to do. And I will say for my use case, my example, I had to, in a sense, reassess and ended up repicking my partners. At first, I was gung ho on Marriott and Southwest. That was just what I knew growing up. It made the most sense to me. And I was like, cool, I'm going to do Chase. Still managed to get with Chase, but I realized it ended up being Hyatt and Southwest. And then once I started getting around this, more involved in the YouTube community through Discords, I learned about the powers of United, thanks to Mr. United, Professor Lani himself. And then, of course, Matt and John R. from John's Credit and Travel. I can't remember his channel name. Good Lord. Those 2 were kind of the feeders, and then they just threw me to the Lani Shark that got me into United. So credit to all 3 of y'all. Thank you, because I am loving United, and that is going to be my go-to for that reason. And had I known then what I know now, I would have way more United miles than I already do. And I would have just gone full-blown Chase, full-blown Hyatt. So yeah, take it from me. Really do a deep assessment with how you travel, how you want to travel. It's been said previously in this podcast before, know how your travel experience and what you want in your travel experience, whether you are just going to be cutting it close in check-in or you're going to be the guy or the gal that is there 3-4 hours early before the flight, which hot take, you should, and get your lounge access. So that is all I got to say for that. Make sure you pick your partners well.
So one thing I want to point out is one of the best reasons to pick your partners and have points being able to transfer is if you book through a portal, you have to deal with the company of which you booked it through. So if, say I book it through Amex, right? If I have an issue with my Delta flight, I can't deal with Delta. I got to deal with Amex, who may or may not be able to assist me in whatever I want to do. So yes, there are times where booking through a portal, the platinum card that Lani and I both have, have some excellent benefits. That's a slightly different scenario. But if I have my choice between booking a hotel with my green card for 3x and even booking it, 5x on the platinum for a hotel, I'm going to use my green card, book it directly with Marriott. And then if I have an issue, I deal with Marriott, I deal with the front desk. I don't have to deal with somebody else. And as somebody who has had things go bad via portals, that is something that I'm okay taking the haircut on points to deal with the chain directly or to deal with the airline directly there. So another layer to put on, if you don't like portals, then it's especially important to pick your partners well and to be able to transfer, because that's really how you're going to get your points out. Cashing out your points is an option, but I don't think any of us would recommend that to be your regular strategy.
Not on the cash out. The cash out can work, but that is an extra level of math that we turn to Stack Your Points actuary, Spathco, for, which we're going to get to him in a little bit. The other thing with booking direct, if you are on a status hunt, and that's another term we'll get into at some point with basics, if you are looking to get status with Hilton, Hyatt, IHG, whoever, when you book through a third-party portal, whether it's Chase's, American Express's, American Express actually I'm going to treat a little bit differently just because of their unique relationship with Hilton and Marriott. But if you book through the Chase travel portal, if you book through Expedia, if you book through hotels.com, Kayak, Cheapo Hotel, whatever third party you're using, you're not going to be getting status. Your stays are not going to count towards status with that brand. Now, Hilton and Marriott will honor your status with the American Express portal. Marriott does not honor your status with Chase. Who knows why? So just keep that in mind if you want to build and develop and grow that relationship with that brand. Going directly to them is always going to be your best bet.
I will add one asterisk to what you just said, Matt, because if you use the Chase portal with United, it does go towards United status. But I'm only here to keep us all united. And yes, that was a pun. Take it.
Gladly. Yeah, I did briefly. I was blanking on that Chase and United. It's weird because Chase and Marriott had that long-standing relationship before Marriott bought SPG, and just kind of like fully embraced American Express over Chase, which is life.
And just to touch on, is it your most recent video? I don't know. Can you drop like 3 videos a day? But your most recent BILT+Walgreens video, I'm going to steal a line directly out of it. Right now, it works. So don't ruin it. Y'all, don't nerf it. Some people rely on this Chase United relationship, so don't nerf it. Don't ruin it.
Just buy your medicine and get your points and move on. It's not worth it. It's
I
not
think we
worth the
just got the
breakage.
title. Buy your medicine, get your points, move on.
There we go. Tariq's on the board. All right, so that is going to do it for basics of the week. We're going to move on now to viewer questions, and we have a few left over from last week. We are going to start with Spaethco's question. It's a little layered, so I'm going to read it word for word, and I'm hopefully going to do it justice with an answer. I have no idea how I'm going to fare here. So from Spaethco, how do you value points when using them to top up a loyalty account? Say you want to take a flight that has a cash price of either 650 or 50,000 points, 1.3 cents per point. You currently have a balance that has with that airline of 40,000 points or miles, and the airline will sell you miles directly for 3 cents each. Do you transfer 10,000 points over to make that redemption instead of paying cash? And if so, do you value those 10,000 points A, at $650 because it saved you from spending $650 out of pocket at that point in time? B, $300 because that's how much it would have cost you to purchase the last 10,000 directly from the airline? Or C, $130 because the whole redemption was 1.3 cents per point, so 10,000 points is only worth $130. For this level of math and actuarialness, we're going to turn over to Lani to start with an answer on this one while I try to figure it out.
Man, there are some layers to this question. There's layers in the layers, and then there's layers in the A, B, and C options. So I'm going to pull a math, not a math, a mat, and math my secondary answer in my head while I give you my A first or primary answer. My first and primary answer is I literally just went through this with all, like I said, you got a United card and you're not booking with United right now, you're missing out because they are cheap, 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 cheap. But I literally just did this the other night, booking another trip where I didn't run out of points or anything like that, but very similar to this scenario, I still have my $200 airline credit on my platinum card. And so what I ended up doing was very similar to this. Like instead of doing that last quarter mile of that 10,000 of, in the question here, I just did points and mile redemption together, which is available in many different hotel and airline partners. United's one of them. I know IHG does it as well, where you can split your miles, your points and miles slash cash. And so I just did the cash for the 200 that I have left on my airline credit on my platinum card, and that of course zeroed everything out. So that's personally what I did. Not to say I didn't have enough miles, but I wanted to make sure I used that particular $200 before the end of the year, which is almost a quarter away, a couple of more months away. Now, that's my primary answer. My secondary answer to actually go with the options that were provided to us between A, B, and C, I would probably, I hate to say it because I know I'm going to get some heat, but I'd probably go with C, the $130 because the whole redemption is 1.3 cents per point. So 10K points is only worth $130. I only say that because it's literally the most straightforward without trying to like finagle this plus that plus, this in parentheses, subsigned or divided by 2, carry the 1. It's just straight up. And I like simple math. Not that I can't sit down with my pen and my pad and my calculator, like that's on every single electronic device that I have. But if I were to actually look at it this way, like, 130, cool, go for it. So that's my answer.
Thank you very much. And we'll go next to Tariq.
So before I give one of the multiple choice answers, I'm going to give the answer that I align with the most, just personally, just off of the experience I have with Lani. And to me, it doesn't really matter what I value the points at, because whatever you did, you were able to take the trip. And that is the most important thing in the entire thing. So for me at this point, it could be priceless. But in the nature of answering the question, I am leaning towards C because of the redemption, but you could really do like math it, because yeah, it's the points, it's 3 cents per point, so it's $300. But then that's like you're saving like $350, because that would have been $650 if you didn't include if you save the difference between paying the cash booking and just doing the top up. So I feel like it should be like a letter answer like D or E, where it's like both B and C, but I don't think we're like on SAT level questions. So yeah, we're just gonna go C, because I like simplicity as much as Lani does.
There we go. RJ, your thoughts here?
D, I have never done a cent per point math in my life, and I am not starting today.
Absolutely fair. So I'm going to approach this in a bit of a weird way, and I did a little bit of math, the simplest amount of math that I possibly could. So I'm going to approach this as, I've got 40,000 in the airline account. If I have an acceptable to me amount of points in my transfer currency, I will transfer over to the 10,000 points and just go with option C. If I need to buy the points, I'm gonna pull this curveball out and say I'm not going to spend $300 on the points, even though I'm spending 3 cents per point. I'm going to look for a way to get a little extra cash back from the sale of the points by exploring. I've recently discovered Top Cashback, and Top Cashback does the points.com site service used for purchasing Hilton points, IHG points, whatever points. So if I can purchase the points through points.com, I'm going to get 2.52 cents, 2.52% back on the sale. It's $300, 2.52%, and I'm going to use like a 2% card probably to make that sale, to make that purchase. So more like 5% off. So I'll say I spent less than $300. If I transferred the points over, it's C. If I had to buy the points over, it would be B, but I'm not valuing it at $300. I'm valuing at whatever my final discount would be using Top Cashback and the card that I'm inevitably using, which would most likely be a 2% card.
Rakuten can also do points.com, and you can get member rewards points and use a Chase card to buy them. So you can get all sorts of points from the same thing.
I was going to say the one that you brought up, or is it points.me or points.com, or if they're not the same thing, one of them actually codes as travel as well. So you buy points and it codes as travel. So you're like getting a hat on a hat.
I don't remember which one it is, the codes as travel. I have to double check. The last time I bought points was sometime last year to buy Hyatt points to get started. So it's been a little while. But purchasing your points is always, you're going to spend the money on it. I'm going to look for ways to stack that purchase just so that I can get a little bit extra value. So if I have the points and I'm willing to transfer the points over just to get the redemption done, I'm going to value it all at 130, because that's the point value of the 10K points. If I have to buy the points, obviously I'm going to value it at 300, but I'm going to find a way to take a haircut on that 300. Do what I can. So Spaceco, I hope that answers your question. But that is a very much an onion question, and please keep sending more. So we'll go on to the next question. We are seeing tiered subs or sign-up bonuses, and sign-up bonuses with bigger spend requirements. Do you think sign-up bonus spend requirements are going to keep growing, or duration, or neither? Or do people like Barclays have one transaction sign-up bonuses? And this is from AP. So do I think sign-up bonus spend requirements are going to keep growing, or duration? I think so. This is interesting to consider because there are cards that have 3-month welcome offers. There are cards that have 6-month welcome offers. And there are some cards that typically had 3-month welcome offers, but are doing special 6-month welcome offers, like my Chasing Cash. I'm going to keep that blurred for now because the cards are on the front, the numbers are on the front, and I don't need anyone knowing those. So that is moved to that currently has a 6-month option. As for the increased spend, I think there's going to be a lot more increased spend, especially on the American Express side, with their business card products, because we're seeing 250,000 point membership reward point offers on the American Express Business Platinum. I wouldn't be surprised to see 300, 350 in the next little bit, but that's going to require something. That'll probably require something like 25,000 in spend. As to the Barclays transaction, that is only available on one card that I'm aware of, and that is the Barclays Red Aviator card, the American Airlines card that Barclays issues. They have more traditional sub welcome offers with their other cards. The JetBlue Business required 4,000 in spend. The Hawaiian Business card requires 2,000. So, why do people like the Barclays? Why do people like Barclays have one transaction? So I don't know why they do it only with that card. I think it's just that card is a weird relic from the US Airways days, and it's just its own special little use case. And they just want to get as many signups for that card as they can, and they know that no one's going to use that card afterwards. So they have to get volume. Yeah, I went on a long time on that one. RJ, your thoughts there?
So I do think there's an upper limit specifically for personal cards of what you can reasonably ask for in a sub and expect anybody to hit it. Now, whether they want us to hit it or not, is remain to be seen, but you need a certain number of people to hit it in order for anybody to continue to sign up. If you put it at, 6,000 in 3 months and, a third of the expected people sign up that would typically sign up for one of your cards, that's not going to continue to be the sub for very long, right? So I do think that on the personal side, there are definitely more limits to what you can reasonably ask. I think the business side will continue to grow. I also think that credit cards, Amex is the one that I know the most, and Chase, from everybody's anecdotes, they are perfectly fine with you getting a business card and using it for personal spend as long as you're paying your bills, because there's a lot of things that are excluded on a business card as far as protections go, fraud goes, all of those things. So really, they're like, hey, we asked you if you had a business, we asked you this, that, and the other, and they can jack up the spend on an ink card or one of their business cards and really face no repercussions because, yeah, a 50,000 minimum spend in 3 or 6 months for 500,000 points could absolutely happen. And if you have a legitimate business, that may be perfectly reasonable for you, right? So I see the business side exploding more than the personal side, or the personal side getting those 3 months, $3,000, you get half the points, 6 months, $8,000, you get the other half, becoming much more common because it lets the bank be like, well, if 75% of people hit the full sub, that's 25 that don't, that's, we're getting all of the fees without having to pay out the points. So I can see it becoming more layered on the personal side and just exploding on the business.
And Barclays, I still think is just a weird one-off. Lani, your thoughts on this one?
Oh yeah, without a doubt, they're going to grow. Sign-up bonuses are going to modify and change, but also the duration is part of the sign-up bonus now. It's part of the spend requirement, the time frame, and all that other stuff. And we're already starting to see this, and this is what I'm like, it's gonna change. And it's not just like with 1 or 2 cards. RJ just made a really great point with for example, the ink cards where they were just kind of like flat. Spend X dollars and X amount of time, get your points, see you later. But now it's like do half of it in 3 months, and then you get the remainder of it if you do something else in the next 3 months. So now it's like a 6 months. We also just saw this recently on the IHG card, which I think that offer is still available. If you wanted to go with the standard 140K offers, like $3,000 in 3 months. But if you wanted the 5 free night offer, oh, they changed that to 4 months, but they also added $1,000 to it. And what I think, especially, and I know these are all Chase or Chase branded cards, but I I would go as far to say that these banks are starting to play around until they find a really, really sweet spot. As RJ mentioned on the business side, especially, let's just go to Inc. Business Preferred, which at one point, like I think the spend requirement right now is $8,000. It was used to be higher than that. And then nobody applied for it. Yeah, like 10, you're right. And then I guarantee you it has way more applications now at $8,000 than it did at 10. And then now they're bumped it up to 120K. And now everybody's talking. Go literally Chase business card, put it in your YouTube search, and I guarantee you find 12 different YouTube creators that are talking about it and saying that you need to use the referral links. Nothing against the hustle. I use my referral links in almost every single one of my videos. I'm not knocking anyone's hustle. But to answer the question, yes, sign up bonuses are going to change, especially as knowledge about what we know and what we talk about in this community starts to spread. You got to remember, there's new members to the community, the ones that we know and the ones that we don't know every single day. Someone else is trying to figure out, how can I get another credit card? How can I understand this credit card game, use these points and miles? There's so many different travel channels that talk about them now. They even have dual channels. They'll have a travel channel and then they'll have the credit card channel. So it's only makes sense that this is going to evolve. That's just the way that it's going to go. And of course, there's also Amex. So I don't want to leave RJ out with, Amex always offers 6 months, but sometimes it's a little, well, we know their sign up bonuses, the actual, the points that you get is never the same. Never accept the first offer with Amex. You know what I'm getting at here. Yeah. The incognito hidden offer, the third offer is always the best offer, is what I'm saying. Now, that's where I sit on where these subs are going, or sign up bonuses, as the acronym states, where they're going. And I can see them getting different as time goes on. In 2025, I guarantee you will, as RJ mentioned, on the business side, I guarantee we start seeing this on the personal side. As for the Barclays thing, I don't know anything about that. I don't pay attention to Barclays, never had a Barclays card, not really interested in one either. But to hear about, one transaction and get your sign up bonus, if it's like spend $3,000, then yeah, like I would recommend everyone do that with any sign up bonus. Try to get in the least amount of transactions as possible to get that sucker over with. I think I had mentioned, not on this podcast, but I mentioned in a live before, especially with the question from Chad Pennycuff, who is the DVC guy. It's like, if you're going to Orlando, going to Disney, you should sign up for a new credit card. You're going to hit that sucker before you get home, period. You're going to hit that sign up bonus. It's one of those types of scenarios. So if it's anything like that with the Barclays thing, then yeah, try to get as much as you can, as fast as you can. And if you're going to stay on property in Orlando at Disney resorts and end up spending $7,000, use that brand new card and get it over with.
So before we jump to Tariq, just to give you guys a little bit of context on this Red Aviator card, the Red Aviator card will give you 70,000 points. Typically will give you 70,000 points on one purchase. It does not have a financial minimum or maximum. This is the stick of gum credit card, basically. All you have to do is buy that stick of gum and pay your annual fee in the first billing cycle, 70,000 American Airline miles. That's why people love that card. Why Barclays continues to do this is, I'm sure they see the signups. I'm sure they have to pay out the points from American Airlines, and they don't see any further activity from most people. But yeah, that is a weird one, and I don't know why they keep doing it, and I don't know how it's sustainable for Barclays, but everybody loves that one while complaining about having to make 5 transactions without having to, pay for a banana.
Now that you've explained it, it's really hard to be mad at that. I'm gonna file that one and get yours and get out of here.
Yep. And Tariq, your thoughts on this one?
So I am just going to start off and not address the Amex side of sign-up bonuses. That's more RJ's wheelhouse. I'll let her handle that. That's the Amex Delta Queen. That I'm not even going to try to touch that territory. Um, with Chase, I know Lani, you touched on it a lot already. I've seen it a lot just with cards. We've obviously mentioned the ink cash going from 6,000 in 3 months to effectively 6,000 in 6 months, where it'd be like the 3,000 the first 3 months. You get, I think it's what, 35,000 points, and then the remaining 40,000 is the next 3,000 in the other 3 months. I even got the Sapphire when I got the Sapphire Preferred back in May. It was on a two-tiered sign-up bonus where I got it with the it was 75,000 points for the 4,000 the first 3 months, and then the next 3 months spend another 2,000, I think it was, and then in 2,000 next 6 months, I got the other 10,000 points. We've seen the Hyatt card is just notorious for just having the two-tiered sign-up bonus, which most people don't like. It's not really a great card to earn. And I mean, even now with the World Hyatt business card, it's the same thing. So I think that it's going to, like, business banks are going to start doing it more. In the way I see it, because it kind of helps mitigate the churners that aren't just going to just smash and grab the sub. Like, they're at least going to put the spend in 3 months or even 6 months, or they're going to really try to get as much spend as they can. And not everybody can just drop for 8, 10, 12, $15,000 in one purchase, whether it be they just don't have it or their credit limit they don't have the credit limit for that. So I think it helps with that. So at least there's still more spend within the first year in case of the churners that want to do the smash and grab. Obviously, with some cards like Sapphires, where you can only get the bonus once every 4 years after you hit the bonus. So I think that's where we're going with that. Regarding the Barclays Aviator card, I was just so curious on it because it is such a weird card for that. And I was looking at the current one, at least public offer, 60,000 advantage miles. And of course, you get the free check bag. Just pay whatever, go get your banana, and then, pay the $99 annual fee, and then, get your miles for that. But, and really, I mean, we all know, like, most airline cards don't earn that well to begin with. But I mean, this one's just, like, especially bad. I mean, you get your 2x miles on American, and then it's just like 1x everywhere else. I mean, you get your check bag. So I guess the way Barclays sees it and why they still do it, I mean, they're going to get the $99 because you're going to pay $99 for 60,000 American miles, and, they'll get whatever revenue they get for that. And then whatever the swipe fee on the banana that you pay for at the supermarket. So I think for that, it's just fine for them. And I mean, if they're personal applications or anything like their business applications, you're gonna have to go through like a blood ritual just to get the cards. So yeah, there's that.
Now that I think about it, world's most expensive banana, singular banana, possibly.
$100 banana. Yeah, you're gonna spend $100 on a banana.
Yep.
You must have been shopping at Erewhon.
Yes. No. Never.
Nah, me, it's just foods.
If you want to hit your sub, shop at Erewhon.
Yep. Yep. Oh boy. All right. We're going to move on to our next question. That is a question for RJ specifically. This is coming from KitKat, who was just on recently with Anthony Venture on a Fantastic Live. Knowing your limitations on Sky Miles and the increased cost of maintaining Delta status, would you ever see yourself moving your loyalty, or is your semi-loyalty purely due to geographic constraints?
So I do not care about status because I booked first class. And I mean that, like, seriously, logistically. There is nothing that status is going to get me with Delta that a first class ticket doesn't, right? Like, maybe around the peripherals, but like for the most part, I buy first class. I know exactly what I'm getting. I don't have to worry about upgrades. I have set my, as Lani and I have both talked about, my travel day is easier because I know what I'm getting. I don't have to worry about, oh, am I going to get upgraded so my bag is, you know, this amount or this amount. It's, I am in first class. This bag, if I check it, is free. I don't have to worry. So that is part of why I picked Delta. I do technically have the ability to do United. United is more expensive. A United business and a Delta first class out of the regional airport I fly out are roughly the same price. So for me, I rather have the Delta first class um, because that way I can set my travel day and I know what I'm going to get every time. And to me, that consistency of I know what I'm going to get, I don't have to rely on status to upgrade me. I don't have to rely on things like that because the planes that fly out of our regional airport are smaller. So there's less first class to upgrade people to begin with. So the chances of me getting upgraded are going to be smaller to begin with because there's less physical seats to do so. So for me, it was a money thing. It was a what do I buy and what do I want to sort of have my travel day look like? You know, if tomorrow United changed the pricing structure out of my regional airport and it was exactly the same as Delta, I would have a lot to consider. Would I consider going with more chase cards in the future? Probably. To have sort of a more solid plan B structure than I do now. My plan B structure now is do I want to take a train to the city? Which is not the best plan B structure in the world, but it is what it is. Or do I want to fly to Atlanta and then fly where I actually want to go, which is also sometimes has happened in the past. Or Detroit, both of them are Delta hubs, so they both work. So yes, it's partly due to location. Delta is by far the best airport for me to fly out of in terms of pricing and all of that. Partly it's due to just I buy first class. I get Delta Lounge because I have a platinum. I get the Centurion Lounge. If I fly Delta, I know I'm going to have a lounge basically where I'm going for 95% of my connections because they go through Delta hubs to get to the final location. So a lot would have to change and none of it is in my control except for potentially moving, but I don't have any plans of moving downstate or out of state anytime soon. If I moved, it'd probably be to Vermont and that would be worse for my commute to an airport, not better.
Yeah, there we go. I was gonna say your loyalty is just based on what's there, because if for whatever reason Delta left, you'd be up a creek without a paddle.
If Delta
Basically.
left, I would go to United and just pay a little bit more. Like it would
Yep.
suck from an economic standpoint, but United is there and they do fly almost everywhere I want to go. It's just a question of it's more expensive and I would still get first class because I'm me. Like I fly enough that I know myself at this point and I know the level of things I expect and I am willing to pay for that expectation. And that is so this is a bit of a tangent, but one of the things that drives me crazy in the credit card community is people who expect a certain level of standard but are unwilling to pay for that standard and expect to be upgraded and want the standard of that upgrade, and if they don't get upgraded still expect the standard of that upgrade. And you see that a lot, especially if you're traveling, like if somebody is platinum or whatever and they don't get an upgrade, they get very upset and expect to still be treated like they got that upgrade. So I buy the thing I want, and if I get an upgrade past that, right, like I just booked a trip to Nashville. I booked a very nice room. It wasn't the full-on suite. If I do get upgraded to the suite, awesome. If I don't get upgraded to the suite, I still booked the room I wanted. Like I didn't go all out and book the suite. If I get upgraded, cool. If I don't, I don't. And I'm okay because I booked a room I wanted. And that's a thing I wish more people in the community would do because status is great, but status only will take you so far if everything above you was actually booked.
I have a question for you, RJ. Just, being devil's advocate for United over here after everything
Okay.
you said. If you had an option or path to United status outside of just,
Mhm.
getting your PQPs, your premier qualifying points, which are the points required for United status for those that aren't aware of how to earn United status. But so going back to you, RJ, if you had a path like, you got gold status with a credit card of any kind,
Mhm.
which now gave you Saver Award and brought your financials to even or even lower on the United side, would that change your opinion to the answer you just gave?
Probably, but I would also have to redo my strategy around which cards I got because I'm so heavily invested in Amex. And Amex is the only Delta transfer partner. So I would have to make nice with Chase, which I'm not on like a bad list with Chase, but I am very far over 524. And I have the luxury right now of not caring about 524. The only number I'm running up against is Amex's 5 credit card limit, which 2 of them will be gone next March. So that will no longer be an issue. So yes, I would have to reevaluate, but it would change so much of my strategy in terms of how I lived my life that may or may not, after I did the reconfig, be worth it, right? It may be like, okay, if I get this credit card, and this credit card in 2 years or a year and a half at this point, yeah, that would be great. But I would have to really, I'm 18 months away from being under 524. So I would really have to game plan out to that point and then figure it out from there. So yeah, like money is the factor here. So if that money changed, my potential loyalty could change. But then it becomes okay, so to sort of do the full extension, I would drop Hilton as one of my preferred because I could save and do just Marriott on both partners, and then I wouldn't have to worry about Hilton. So then it becomes like my entire strategy changes. And then maybe I do take a look at IHG or Hyatt because I'm already putting so much in. So it changes so much of it. Delta really is the linchpin of all of my strategy because
Hmm.
a lot of my travel includes a flight. I'm booking cruises, so I'm going to England, I'm going to Vancouver. We just booked an Alaskan cruise for 5 days with my family that I'm very excited about. Um, so a lot of my travel is flight based, which is fun and I enjoy flying, but that makes Delta even more important than it would um, in another situation. So yeah, it would be a definite discussion, and I would be in your DMs a lot and and trying to figure out all that. Because the nice part is like I know information about status. I don't have to worry about status right now. So I couldn't tell you what platinum with Delta gets because I have never had to worry about having platinum with Delta or having it with United or having it with anybody else. So it would require a lot more research in terms of where do I need to get in status? Where do I need to get with cards? How do I have to change which cards I have? Which Amex cards would I get rid of to go to another, carrier or another bank's cards? It would be a lot. This entire podcast would be like 7 topics of mine in a row of just like processing my feelings like therapy.
I really respect that answer, and you really touched on something that I think, especially for the beginner folk, the novices that are listening to us, looking to get started or build their initial, finalize or finish building their initial strategy, is going back to pick your partners. And our first question of the night is, when you're about chest deep, neck deep, it is really hard to pivot, like really, really hard. And I didn't even think about that when I was asking you this follow question of, you would literally have to start all the way over from scratch. And and not to get selfish here, but I recently got a question where someone had asked me, like, how come I don't have any Capital One cards? Because it's like, I can't start from zero. The Capital One just can't do anything for me with my A or B strategy, and I don't need a C strategy. So you touched on something really big there on how hard it is to pivot once you like get a strategy that works for you. A and B is easy, but to start completely from zero or to create a C and D strategy, because now, like you said, you're putting layers into it. It's not just about points and miles and status anymore. Now you got a whole new layer of financials to actually earn those points and miles to use them again to get to that redemption stage again. So yeah, thanks. You opened me up a little bit there. You can always slide into my DMs.
Delta needs to just never leave the upstate New York area, which I don't think they will because they're by far the largest airline out of that. And people need to get to the capital of New York to do things from the city, and not everybody wants to be on a 4.5 to 5 hour Amtrak ride.
I just have to say one about the pivoting that I'm surprised I didn't even mention when I pivoted from my partners. It was easy for me because I went from chase partners to chase partners. So I didn't have to start from scratch. I think I just stopped redeeming the Southwest and just started redeeming to United and started doing mileage plus X, this, that, and the third. Also, one other thing, RJ, that was probably the longest way, the most elaborate way you could have just said no to Kit Kat's answer. Because like we already knew it was gonna be no. Like you're too deep into Delta. And so I was like, obviously, we're doing it for the podcast. People need their the explanation as to why, but we're what is this, episode 9? You were gonna say no.
Somebody listening is their first time listening, Tariq, and that's what she did it for.
So the funny part is the best next partner down actually probably wouldn't be United in terms of like where things. I have to have a transfer. I don't get to have a direct flight unless I'm flying to like New York City, maybe Detroit or Atlanta, right? Like those are basically the places I get a direct flight to. The next best partner is probably JetBlue, which is also an Amex partner. A terrible redemption for Amex. Like I'm not suggesting anybody ever transfer Amex points to them unless you need like 1,000 to just top up. But it would probably be JetBlue, and at that point, I would just take a ride to the city and get out of a real airport. So yeah, Delta's not gonna leave up here because of a lot of reasons. So yeah, I am lucky that Delta is so entrenched in here, and they're not leaving anytime soon. United would probably leave before Delta would, but I don't think either of them are going anywhere.
Well, if you were gonna consider JetBlue, I mean, you could start with City. I mean, it's starting from the beginning, but you're not. I don't think you're as restricted to rules.
Tariq, stop talking.
I'm not. You know what? I don't care. I'm gonna talk.
Go to the corner.
I refuse it. No, I refuse.
JetBlue is also a Chase partner, by the way. So if you have a Chase transfer card, you're good. Sorry about that, Tariq. All right, so let's go on to the next question. We've got one from Keith Best, loyal viewer to all of us at this point. In your opinion, what is the most underrated non-annual fee, non-attune card out there? I feel called out. Mine is the Chasing Cash, 5 times on streaming, phone services, and cable, and up to $25K of Visa and MasterCard gift cards at office supply stores, which you could turn into 5 times on any category spending like groceries or dining. And this is from Keith. I will again defer before I jump over to my answer. Let's go over to Tariq. Tariq, what is the most underrated, no annual fee, non-Wells Fargo Attune card? I don't know why you would say the Attune, but let's go.
I think the Attune was directed to you, or even me, because I'm pretty sure I mentioned it as well. Most underrated, it's kind of a hard one, especially for thinking of like the cards like in that are at least transferable to points and miles. because a lot of the no annual fee cards are like well regarded. Like my first thought was the Freedom Flex, but I mean, you could throw a rock and hit a Freedom Flex video on YouTube. So, and it to even to some extent, even the Eaton Cash. I guess out of all of them that are non-cash back cards, because we can go cash back and probably even say like what you can go niche like Redstone Credit Union Visa or even the Costco Anywhere Visa. But again, we're not. I don't think. I don't think I want to do this more towards strictly cash back. I guess out of all of them, probably the Capital One Saver one, just because it's Capital One's a in comparison to Chase, American Express, Citi, and even Wells Fargo. It's even though the Venture X is a really highly regarded card, the Saver one, even like with the Duo, is not talked about as much from what I've seen compared to like other no annual fee cards. And it's a really good earner. So you're gonna get 3x on grocery, 3x on dining, 3x on entertainment. And as of right now, you get like 2 more months of Uber One and the Capital One Entertainment. So I think that's my case. But really, the more underrated cards are going to be like your cashback, no annual fee cards, mostly because points cards are going to be talked a lot more than your strictly cashback cards, from what I've observed, just being a YouTube viewer.
Sure. RJ, your answer here, and I think I know it.
I have a cheat answer and I have a real answer, and I don't think you're going to get either of them.
Hit me.
So my cheat answer is a card that is the first year is $0 and then it's $95. But it is technically free for the first year, which is the US Bank Shopper Cash Rewards, because you get 6% cash back, and one of them is my beloved Apple. And getting 6% cash back on Apple could be, $1,000. It's Apple. Who knows? They charge $750 for wheels. But you can also get like Best Buy, IKEA, Lowe's, Target, Wayfair, Walmart. So it is the option to get quite a lot of cash back depending on how you shop. You get 2 of those. You also get 3% on bills or home utility, gas, EV charging, or wholesale clubs. You pick one of those. Getting wholesale clubs at 3% cash back is not common, and it could be very nice. And then 1.5% cash back all else, which is also not super common because usually it's 1% for everything else. That is my cheat answer because it does have an annual fee afterwards. My real answer is going to be the Cash Plus Visa from US Bank because it is no annual fee all the time. 2 categories for 5%, 2% back on another category, and then 1% on all else. I really went with the underrated in this, so I didn't want to do the Freedom Flex or the Blue Business Plus or anything like that because those are not underrated cards. We talk about them in this community so much. The Blue Business Plus, I think, is an underrated design of a card. I think it's one of the prettiest Amex cards, and I have a lot of Amex cards to compare it to, and it's real pretty. But yeah, those would be my answers. I think US Bank is genuine underlooked a lot because they don't have transfer partners. You can do the points a different way, either wiping away purchases or through their portal. But for cashback, I don't care if you have a transfer portal or not because it's cashback.
You're right. I wouldn't have guessed either, but I love the US Bank Cash Plus. Is definitely a card I have room for, and a card that I wish Chase would just blindly steal.
What did you think I was going to pick? Because now I'm interested.
Oh, I thought you were going to go with the Blue Business Plus. So egg on my face there. Lani, your thoughts on the most underrated, no annual fee, non-Wells Fargo Attune card?
Well, now I got three answers because RJ just, I'm going to pull a RJ in my middle answer. Y'all probably know which way I'm about to go. But at first, in the, if the Ghost of Christmas Past was here, it would have been the Built card if it was like 2 or 3 months ago. Highly underrated, highly powerful, ain't the same in the days of Christmas present. We're just going to call it what it is. Hopefully, it will be again in the days of Christmas future. Stop right there. Now, pull my RJ answer of $0 first year, $95 every year after that. United Mileage Plus Explorer, let's just call it what it is. That card comes with so much heat. It is packing heat in its back pocket. It's not even conceal and carry. It is like hanging it on its chest. That sucker is way, way, way more overpowered than what people give it credit to, especially if you understand how to use it and you start combining it with other things. And I'll go into a little bit more detail about this real quick, because you can actually use it as a catch-all card. When you really stop and think about it, it covers you for travel, it covers you for dining, it covers you for multiple things. You get other Chase offers with it as well, plus all these different United benefits. I believe the points guide values a United mile at 1.3 to 1.8 cents per point, depending on what sorry, I can't speak today, time of year it is. But if you have that card and you start getting your saver awards or even more discounts from having status with United, that 1.3 to 1.8 easily now is worth over 2 cents per point, up to 3 cents per point for each individual one of those United miles. And you don't have to transfer them out. You can book directly through United, and those miles are probably some of the most versatile award miles out there. Flights, cars, hotels, cruises, vacation packages, all sorts of things. So I'm going to steal RJ's answer and go with United. Now, my real answer is I'm going to agree with Keith if we go with Keith's question with the Chase Inc. Business Cash Card, because yes, that hidden 5X. If you understand how to play the category game, you can really max that out. And I've mentioned this before in a lot of my other videos. Is my favorite thing is not just to use it on my internet, my phone bill, but I go through Verizon Play Plus subscriptions and I get all my subscriptions through there, which counts as a Verizon purchase, as comes through as an internet service provider slash telco. So I get 5X on every single one of my subscriptions. So Paramount, Netflix, YouTube TV, all of them. Like, just go to the website and check it out. I've talked about this in previous videos. So that alone, like, yes, you can. Even though I don't need it, because I get free Hulu and Disney Plus through Verizon, because I've been with the customer with them so long, but that's add Hulu, where I can use my platinum card just for the $17.99 ad free Hulu and get that waived out 100%. But Inc. Business Cash and just getting all your subscriptions through it. And for y'all that are listening, you do not need to be a Verizon customer to sign up for Verizon Play Plus subscription. That is 2 separate charges.
I have to hop on Verizon Play Plus at some point. I'm probably going to push all my YouTube through that and maybe 1 or 2 other streaming subscriptions. Because I do hold the Wells Fargo Tune, and it gets 4% on streaming, but I still don't have transfer partners yet to really exercise the card. So, no annual fee, underrated, non-Wells Fargo Tune cards. Well, Keith, the Wells Fargo Autograph card is one of the only no annual fee cards that gets you transfer partners. So I'm going to go with that one as one card. 3 times points on streaming phone services, comes with cell phone protection. 3 times points on travel and transport, travel and transit. Wells Fargo's travel and transit categories as 2 separate categories equals out to about Chase's travel category. I wish Wells would just take their travel and transit and make it one category. Whatever. 3 times points on gas and EV charging, and the ability to transfer your points out at no annual fee. That card, super underrated as soon as Wells Fargo figures out its transfer partner situation. Other cards with no annual fee that I'll throw out there that we haven't talked about, the Hilton Honors card. The no annual fee Hilton Honors card gets you a base of 3 times Hilton points on all purchases, 5 times Hilton points at gas, grocery, and dining. 7 times Hilton points when booking at Hilton. Comes with Hilton Silver status, which that 7 times points becomes more like, I think it's 13 or 14 times points. With your silver status and the boosts that you can get from there. And if you're booking with like extra boosts that Hilton will offer along the way, then you're set there. The IHG Traveler card with no annual fee is also a pretty strong card for IHG specific spend. I believe its base is 3 times points. Lani or Tariq, please keep me honest on that one if you know. Okay.
I'll have to double check. You're in the right ballpark, but I don't want to confirm
Okay.
until I can verify.
Yeah, no worries. That also comes, I believe, with IHG. IHG's like next step up from basic membership, but also a pretty good way to build out your IHG points very quickly. And then the chasing cash, like there's no argument that the chasing cash, if you know how to use it, is a very, very strong card, especially if you get into things like, you want to live the Chase life and live in the Chase ecosystem at all times. But hey, Chase doesn't let you get 5 times points on it. It doesn't let you get a solid grocery or gas category. Well, the chasing cash, you can pick up a Visa gift card or MasterCard gift card for that amount, you get 5 times points. This could get mitigated if Chase could just figure out, a permanent grocery and gas category, but neither here nor there. Yeah.
Waiting.
So, yeah.
Impatiently.
Until we die. Wells will figure out their transfer partner game and win the credit card space before Chase actually figures out putting on a gas and grocery category. I will put that up there right now. So yeah, there's 3 cards: the Wells Fargo autograph, the Hilton Honors, and the IHG Traveler card. All very underrated, no annual fee credit cards that I'll put out there.
So wanted to confirm on the IHG Traveler, Matt, right now, just looking it up. It actually still has an elevated sign-up bonus of 100,000 IHG points, which is with 2,000 and spend in 3 months. You get silver status, you get the fortnight free benefits, and it's up to 17x IHG points if you're booking cash through IHG property. I think, except the Crown Plaza, I think it's 5x, and then 3x on the dining, utilities, select streaming services and gas stations, and then 2x everywhere else. And then another card that I kind of thought of when you brought up the Hilton Honors card, the Marriott Bonvoy Bold. And it's probably just because of the elevated sign-up offer. I don't know if it's going to be like they're going forward or it's just like a short-term thing. After with 2,000 spend in 3 months, you get 60,000 Marriott points and a free night cert. So, like, if you value Marriott and you don't want to get into any of the annual fees, because they can range, from the 95 all the way up to 650, that's there. And then you get silver status, which is the same on the Bonvoy Boundless for some reason. But yeah, that was just another one that I just happened to think about when you mentioned the Hilton Honors card.
How did none of us say the Amex Everyday card? I can't believe that card was such disrespected on this podcast.
You are the Amex
had a
queen
chance to
here.
speak.
That is your thing.
You had a chance to
There was
speak.
nobody to blame but
guys,
yourself.
Guys,
I'm kidding. It's a terrible, terrible card.
Before we really dump on RJ for not choosing that card, just remember that card is a dumpster fire.
Still had a chance to speak.
That card is so bad, even a mother could not love that card. It is Amex. Call me. We'll talk about the everyday and everyday preferred. Just they hurt me. They hurt me in my soul, or where the soul should be located.
Yeah, so Additionally, with all of those no annual fee cards, if you do your bookings with IHG or Marriott or Hilton, if you do your bookings through Rakuten with those cards, you can also get some additional bonuses through Rakuten or Top Cashback or any other additional receipt or cashback app as well. So always think about ways you can stack on cashback in addition to the points that you're earning. Which brings us to our last question from Anthony Bove, which is more of a statement. I'd love to see more point stacking examples on earning and on redemptions. The redemption side, I'll probably leave more to Lani, but on the earning side, we talk about mileage plus X way more than most other podcasts ever would dream to. We'll start talking more. I've recently downloaded Dosh. I've recently downloaded Top Cashback. I've recently downloaded Ibotta. I've recently downloaded a whole slew of cashback apps to use to try and put them in conjunction where, like, I'm going to try to live life not worrying about a grocery category and just find other ways to get grocery taken care of. Same with wholesale. If I'm choosing not to live my secret 3 times grocery category through Chase.
You mind if I go next?
Yeah, go for it.
I want to give a special shout out to Anthony Bove. This is coming from me. So fun fact, you guys, Anthony found my channel, my very second video I ever uploaded. So I've known this dude for probably almost a year. So Anthony, thank you. And for those that have not came to my channel yet or left me a comment, weird enough, my mnemonic memory, I actually remember all these types of weird things. I remember people very well. I remember conversations very well. So hit subscribe, start having a conversation with me. I've talked about this before. Chad of Chad's Money Minutes subscribed to my channel before I even got to 100. But I remember Anthony Bove and I having conversations on my very second video, which is, well, it was my second video. So it was my very first point stacking video I ever put out. And I recently did a recent point stacking video just a couple of weeks ago. So come by my channel, check it out. But no, I totally agree. The only problem is when it comes to point stacking, it almost is as intricate and as complicated as what's the best card I should get type of a question. Like, how does an airplane work? It's not a short answer, and every single person is different because you might shop at places I don't shop at. You might live in areas that I don't live in, but there are so many different ways to point stack. You know, some of the basics. One, even if you don't fly United, just use United Mileage Plus X app. You'll earn United miles, and eventually you will have enough United miles to actually get another free trip based on the purchases that you're already making. There are so many stores and retailers in there. It's not even funny. The other aspect is, as I mentioned earlier, playing the category game, which if you're in anywhere in central US, North America, the one part that I really get about the category game that bothers me the most is, like, if you go to like a Bucky's or an Oasis gas station that's on the side of the road, you know, that has like the restaurants and the shopping all in one place. Well, sometimes those code as gas stations, or they code as at a restaurant, or they code as a store, and you don't know which card to use when you pull up. So that's my metaphor of how complicated point stacking can get. But I'm happy to like have a deeper conversation with any of you guys. Like I said, drop it in my comments, drop me an email, and we can figure out your world, what cards you have, and how to like make sure that you maximize every single transaction. So I'm here for you. But that's it.
Yep.
Anthony, I appreciate you. You've been rocking with me literally from like day 2. So thank you very much.
And I will try to incorporate more point stacks as I get them going, and probably in topics and things like that as I go forward. But we're going to try to do our best. I can't propose a point stack of the week section because we're already running about 2 hours every week. So if I offer any more topics or any more segments, I do feel that our executive producer will probably kill me. Yeah, they confirm. So We're going to try our best there and go from there. But that will do it for questions for this week. We do have a ton of future questions as well, so we're going to get those, get through those as best we can. But thank you so much for everyone who has submitted questions. If you want to submit questions to the podcast, just use the comment section of our YouTube videos. You can email us questions, stackyourpoints@gmail.com. We also have the Stack Your Points Discord. That is another way to utilize it. We have a subsection called, I believe it's podcast questions. So join the Discord, leave us a line on YouTube, send us an email. We'll do our best to get to you. So that's going to do it for questions. We're going to move over to, we have no news roundup for this week. There was the late breaking news about BILT and Walgreens, but we're going to talk about that another time, just because I think that's going to play more into the September rent day, which we still have no idea about. So we're going to skip news for this week, but we're going to move on to topics. And we're going to start topics off with, Lani, would you be willing to start topics this week?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So a couple of things, and we touched on this earlier, but there are a lot of refreshes and even new cards, some confirmed, some rumored. Go check out Matt Clausen's channel for all the rumored cards that are potentially coming, but even new confirmed cards. There's also new partnerships coming, like the BILT+Walgreens partnership that Matt just mentioned a second ago. Once all these like new refreshes, new cards, new partnerships are announced, credit card YouTube starts going like crazy with worth it, not worth it, keep or cancel. This card is great. This card is trash. It's on fire. Everything's falling apart. It goes one way or the other. But you'll see all these new types of videos from creators, and that's not a knock against any creator. But the question is, and the thing is, it's like still to this day, I was listening to another creator that brand new video, and we're still talking about like MX Gold refresh and $7 Dunkin' credit, like, and oh, this is a good, and oh, also this is bad. Well, instead of like all of that, I just wanted to ask the question today, and that is, what changes do you guys actually want to see with these credit cards? Like, first, grocery, Chase, someone battle Amex with grocery, but like grocery, what type of changes do you actually want to see happen? So with that, I know Matt, you've talked a lot being our host tonight, but I'm going to kick it to you first.
Sure. So what changes do I actually want to see? Some of the things that would actually excite me would be with Chase specifically on the Freedom cards, or Chase figuring out a way to make their cards more cohesive would be exciting. And that would be something I definitely want to see. So things I've mentioned in videos, and I'll beat these horses to death. And I'm sorry to the poor horses. One, the Freedom Flex becoming the U.S. Bank Cash Plus card. You know, you get to choose your 5% categories. You get to choose a 2 or 3% category, or they make gas a 3% category on the Freedom Flex, and they make grocery a 3% category on the Freedom Unlimited. And now you've got a reason to get both cards, which is what Chase wants you to do. And you've got that solid multiplier where dining is covered by one of the Sapphire cards. Now you've got the dining on the Sapphire card, the gas on the Freedom Unlimited, and the grocery on the Freedom Flex, or however I did it that first way, right? Now you've got that all cohesive. Now you have a reason to get each one of these cards to unlock this feature, because Chase isn't going to do one card to roll them all, which is fine. I want to see Capital One move beyond the 2x everything and like the one Saver One card. I want to see what their plan is going forward, because they have 9 trademarks, and that's a lot of darts to throw at the wall and potentially miss on all of them, because it's Capital One. They have a way of just cannibalizing themselves for no good reason. Wells Fargo right now, I've got nothing to complain about to Wells Fargo until they figure out their transfer partner list, until they announce more transfer partners. Like, I can live without grocery on Wells Fargo just because I want to see what else you're doing before I worry about grocery. And then US Bank, I want to see US Bank give us the ability to pool your points between the Altitude Connect, the Altitude Go, and the Altitude Reserve. That is the only request I have from US Bank. The ability to pool those points would be amazing. So I think I've covered everything. I don't have a major wish list from American Express. Y'all do you just make the everyday cards like interesting? I guess would be the only thing I'd ask from American Express. But like across the board, those are the things that I want to see happen. I don't really do keep or cancel. I don't really do is it worth it? All I'm going to do is that when the news announces on a card that I don't have is just like, here are the changes. Do with this as you will. And I don't want to record that video again at 3:45 in the morning.
And BILT actually put a purpose behind their statuses. RJ.
Yeah, I forgot that one.
So I'm a huge fan of the Amex Business Gold because it is a choose your own adventure card, right? There are 6 categories. Whatever you spend for the top 2 that are the most, you get your 4x, you get 1x on everything else from the other categories or just your catch-all, right? To me, that should be on more cards. I would love to see the business green be the same thing, maybe slightly different categories, but 3x. Because I think having a card where you have multiple categories and however people spend is how they sort of earn their points, I think is a much more powerful way to get multiple cards than simply having it be like, okay, this is my gas and grocery card, or this is that, or whatever. I also would like to see the Amex boost come to more cards just in general. I'm not speaking only for Amex. Either of these ideas just solely for Amex. I'd like to see others adopt them. But like on the everyday, the everyday and the everyday preferred's only superpower is if you hit 20 transactions on the everyday and 30 transactions on the everyday preferred, you get a boost in points, either 20% or 50%. So if that could come to something like a gold card or like a green card or any of the others, it would make more sense because Amex, one of the reasons that Amex becomes a coupon book is they want you to constantly be using your card or using their cards, because Amex specifically is the bank, is the payment processor. So they get all of those swipe fees. It's not like Chase, who has to cut in Visa or MasterCard, right? Like it's all Amex. So they want you to use their card. Well, you have this amazing system that makes people use their card, like put it on other cards. If they put the 20 times use your platinum card for a 20% boost in points, people would use it for more than flights, or the clueless people who use it for dinner because it's a flex. Like people would start using the platinum card for things other than flights. And they don't, and I don't understand it. So I would love to see stuff like that, things that allow people to be flexible, things that allow people to use the cards without it feeling like a coupon book. Mostly so I don't have to hear people complain about it being a coupon book more than my own personal feelings on said coupon books. But things like that, I think, would be A, popular, and B, like you could get a green because they have slightly different categories. You could get the gold because it has other categories and you have different levels of boost. Now you're able to sort of have your more flexible categories. Oh, I'm going on a road trip this month. I'm going to do gas. I usually don't do gas, so that's not a concern. It really could be a powerful setup. I'd like to see all issuers adopt that, not just Amex. So that's sort of where I am.
Yeah, the Platinum card is a subscription service with a metal membership card. I'm not taking it back. Tariq.
So I know Matt already touched up on some of them, and he already beat the hypothetical dead horse, but I am going to get the club because I'm going to beat it as well. That sounded really bad out of context. Anyway,
Sure did.
yeah, it's late, y'all.
That
Chase
doesn't help your
just
statement, by the way.
you know what? I'm gonna go
Let's
back
go.
into the corner. Anyway, yes, Chase, just give me gas and grocery, whether on the Freedom Unlimited with RJ's Product Change Chronicles, she's touched up on that, That's probably like the best thing they could have done with the Freedom Unlimited, or just Chase. Just I've said it before. Just take the Blue Cash every day. Just literally just take it carbon copy and make it a UR point earning card, and I would even pay an annual fee for that. We mentioned obviously, Wells Fargo getting their transfer partners needed. I would like to see Citi get just get American Airlines as a transfer partner, so it can be a big player. I know it's unlikely, but I mean, American Express has Delta, Chase has United. Nobody has Citi and nobody has American Airlines, and Citi is like the main issue for American Airlines cards. So that would be great. Another thing that I just thought about would be Bank of America getting into their travel game, whether it be having all their cards earning like the points multiplier point together, and even having a transfer partner, because between having like the premium rewards elite card, earning those points, and topping that with their preferred rewards, that could be like a really great strategy. And say Bank of America has a transfer partner, I think they issue like the Alaskan Airlines card, that could be a very lucrative player into the points and miles game. And I think the last one I'm going to go with is just BILT just improving, and maybe getting rid of Roger Goodell, because 28-3. And then of course BILT adding gas and grocery. I think just a lot of cards just meet gas and grocery categories, but I know that's probably for a reason, because a lot of people drive and a lot of people buy groceries, and I know that they're going to shell out a lot of points. But I mean, hell, I pay an annual fee if I can get like 4 or 5x gas and grocery, just not Amex Gold yet, because I pick my partners. So now back to the corner.
But here's my question to you. If the Amex Gold, like if Chase put out the exact Amex Gold card, would you get it?
Yes.
With 4x on grocery? Yes.
Yes.
I would cancel
Is that
my Amex Gold tomorrow.
Just straight up carbon copy
Straight
Amex
up
Gold,
carbon
having
copy,
like
same
similar
annual
credits.
fee, identical, just moved over to Chase.
Yep, take my money now.
Yeah. Yeah, just give me the card.
Yep.
So annual fee to you is negotiable, I hear. That's what I'm hearing through my big headphones is annual fee. You're scared of annual fee because Chase doesn't have good annual fee cards.
Do I still have cold feet when it comes to high annual fee cards? Yes. Would it help if it was Chase? Everybody has a price. And I value Chase points. I value our points pretty highly. And I would probably pay an annual fee if it was like a business gold where I could even pick, it'd be even better. I'd even go far and say yes to that more than just like the personal gold.
But gold will be gone if they made a carbon copy. But grocery category alone could 100% take me out of the Amex ecosystem. 100% walk. Like cash me out, wipe me out, book me out, whatever. Just get me out. Yep. But yeah, Matt, did you answer my question yet? You did. I went to you first, didn't I? Yeah, I went to you first. Okay, passing the mic.
Absolutely. We'll jump over to RJ, actually.
So I asked a question of our YouTube community because I was interested in mobile wallet. So I asked our community, do you use mobile wallet? And 31 people were nice enough to answer. About 30% either don't have it set up or have it set up but don't use it. And everybody else, it was actually split surprisingly even between 1 to 4 times a month, 5 to 12 times a month, or more than 12 times a month. Those are, of course, because of how days break down and weeks. So I love my mobile wallet. I use it a lot. Anytime I leave my house, the one time a week I do because I work from home and work an off shift, I'm basically using mobile wallet at everywhere except for nicer restaurants, which don't use mobile wallet. You actually physically have to take your card out of your pocket. I really like being able to sort my cards that way. I can put whatever, if I'm working on a sub, I can slide that card down to be the first card that pops up. It's really handy to me. I don't necessarily know how all of you feel about mobile wallets, so I'm going to start with Tariq. My question is, do you use a mobile wallet, and how do you feel about mobile wallets?
So I do I have my mobile wallet set up. I like it. But I will say I don't use it as frequently as, anybody else, especially you. Um, I had, for the most part, like I use my Sapphire Preferred. I used it once because I didn't want to, I expedited the card, but I was going out of town. So I just added it to my mobile wallet so I could start working on the sub. And and I also have my Capital One Saver One on there because I don't use it like very often, but I like having it in my mobile wallet where on the one-off chance I'm out, whether I'm out with my girlfriend or friends, and we go to a Capital One cafe, I can just pull out the Saver One and I can get 50% off my drinks at the cafe. It's very useful. Other than that, I will put like when I'm out traveling, like when I was out in Chicago, I got my venture card. It was cheaper to just do it through the mobile wallet, and I would just pull out my phone, scan, ride the train. Gonna do that in DC when I get the metro. So I'll use it a lot for like transportation, public transportation as well, because it's just easier than just having a physical card because you're more than likely gonna lose the card than you are gonna lose your phone because I can speak on behalf of myself. I'm gonna hold on to my phone a lot. And unless I'm on the L, then that thing is staying on my pocket the entire time until I get off the train. Thanks, Lani. Really appreciate that info. So yeah, that's me. I am more physical wallet, pull the cards out, but every now and again, once in a blue moon, I will, just double tap my lock button on my iPhone and, scan.
So you don't put all of your cards in your mobile wallet. I'm also hearing that, correct?
Yes, I mean, let me pull up my mobile wallet right now. So I threw my Chase cards on there because I used to send money to my friend through Apple Pay. So I have my Chase debit card on there. I have my Blue Cash every day because there was like an Amex offer using Apple Pay like multiple times. So I have that on there, just never took it off. And then I wanted to test to see if I can just put a MasterCard because Chase is like weird with like adding the MasterCards to mobile wallet. So I just physically put the Freedom Flex in there. So I have one, two, three, four, five cards on the mobile wallet right now. In comparison, I have like 13 active cards. So yeah, no, I don't put every card on my mobile wallet.
Lani, do you use mobile wallet? Do you put all your cards on there? What are your general feelings?
Do I even need to answer this question? As the resident tech nerd, yeah, I've been using mobile wallets since mobile wallets were like in beta testing, like back in the old 2010 Android Pay days. Um, and I basically never stopped using them. Actually, when I was a former not former, I'm a former Verizon employee now, but when I was a current Verizon employee, one of the things that I did was actually ran the initiative to get people to change their terminals to tap and pay terminals for Verizon. They even did another campaign um, previously called ISIS, but then they changed it because of course, ISIS, and they changed it to soft card. I was actually one of the leaders, project leads for that campaign for Verizon across the nation. So you guys can actually thank me for that. So yes, I am nose deep in mobile wallets. So if I'm looking at my phone right now, not only I'm not gonna say I got every single card in there, but I probably got like at least 90% of them in there. I even have my digital PayPal direct link in there, which is not a PayPal card. It just comes out of my PayPal balance if I put money in there, which is a very safe way to save money. Just add money to your PayPal, use that. So that way, obviously, you protect yourself and you get the PayPal protections when you make those types of payments. I put all my loyalty cards, all my gift cards in my mobile wallet. Like it is thick. I even have my COVID-19 like vaccination card in my mobile wallet when I look at it. So I hope we don't get flagged because that word, the C word, but I actually have it in there. So I carry my digital COVID passport or whatever they call those things in there, my vaccination card digitally in my mobile wallet. So yeah, I am full into mobile wallets. And I'll even go as far to I'll even add this one last thing. There are a couple of places and ways where there are so many different types of scammers out there to help protect yourself, protect your information, protect your money. Where, like, if I'm at a gas station outside at the pump where you don't have to walk in, I will go as far to say if I can't tap, I don't pay. I'll just drive off because there's so many different types of skimmers and things out there. If you understand the technology on how mobile wallets work, then I guarantee you, if you're not using it now, you will, because it's only a matter of time before, if you're not using the little chip on your card, if you're still plugging it in or swiping it, you're probably closer to getting your information stolen or skimmed that way more than ever today than you were. So if I can't use my phone, then I'm 100% like using the chip. That's like the instant plan B. So yes, I'm deep into mobile wallets. Every single phone that I own has my wallet on it.
I
And
knew
two of
your
my tablets.
I knew what your answer was going to be. I kind of got a sense for Tariq. I am completely lost on how Matt is going to answer these questions. So Matt, the floor is yours. Your feelings on mobile wallet. Do you use it in general? And how many cards do you have on it?
All right, so let me just say I have 14 credit cards, 15 is on the way. 14 credit cards are in my mobile wallet. I'm in year 3 of this current iPhone 13 Max Pro. Um, I am abusive to batteries, so currently this year I am not as mobile wallet heavy as I would like to be because I am constantly charging my phone and not bringing my phone out of the car necessarily all the time to pay at the gas pump or bring it in with me to use. Yeah, I mean to do the watch, and I should do the watch, but I'm not as great with the watch as I am with the phone. And Lani is judging me, and I'm sorry. Um, so 14 cards, they're all in there. My World of Hyatt digital key card is in my wallet. My World of Hyatt status card is in my wallet. My Priority Pass is now in my wallet. My AAA membership is now in my wallet. My Aeroplan membership, my Sapphire Priority Pass to get into the Sapphire lounges is in my wallet. My rental car statuses are all in my wallet. Love mobile wallet. There's a reason I want Wells Fargo to look into mobile wallet. There's a reason I want Chase to look into a mobile wallet. There's a reason I want a mobile wallet category across the board. I want to pay with my phone and get a little more points out of the gate. I will actually use it at grocery stores to pull up the Saver One. I don't carry the Saver One physically on me anymore. Half the time, if you ask me where my Saver One physical card is, I may not be able to tell you, but I know it's on my mobile wallet. So I know exactly where it is.
My Dunkin' Donuts digital gift card is in my mobile wallet.
Mine is. I use that thing so much. So I don't have all of my cards on my phone's mobile wallet, but they're all on my watch's mobile wallet because the problem with the iPhone is once you have enough cards in there, the bottom card, which is the card you actually are using first, is hidden. And that drives me nuts because I can't tap on it to see, because it'll give me my list of transactions to double check. And because it hides it, it drives me nuts. So I take a couple of cards out, but they're always on my watch. And if I'm out of my house, the watch is on my wrist. If I'm in my house, the watch is on my wrist. I usually charge it for like 30 minutes on lunch when I'm laying in bed, trying to contemplate getting up and going back to work. So yeah, I always have my watch with me, so I always have all of my cards with me, but my phone is missing a couple because just the UI drives me nuts. But I have loyalty cards, I have Priority Pass that I will never use because I fly Delta. I have all of the things in there. I even put my hotel stays, the little card that reminds me of like when the hotel stays are through Hilton and Marriott, just so I have the
Boarding
visual
passes.
reminder. Boarding passes go in there. If there is a card for it, I will put it in there. Also, BJ's and Sam's Club, please like let me put my membership cards in there without hacking it because it drives me nuts. Thank you.
Yep.
But you also touched on one thing there too, RJ, is the only reason why I put a majority of my cards in my mobile wallet. One, not just because I like the ease of use of using my mobile wallet, but my everyday carry wallet, I only put in like maybe, like if I leave the house right now, I'm only leaving the house with maybe two, maybe three of my credit cards. I don't, yeah, there's a very slim extra wallet that Matt's holding up for the audio only listeners at right now. I think that only holds what, 5 cards? 6
If
if
you're lucky.
they're all flat.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't have any chase embossed cards, you can get 4 in there. But
Yes.
that's the other thing is sometimes like I might leave a particular card at home, like my metal subscription Amex Platinum card, and I know I have, for example, like a Oakley offer or a Lululemon offer or something like that, and I don't take it with me because the card's pointless to carry around. It's kind of heavy too. I always got my mobile wallet there that I could use. So that's another reason why I put almost every card in there, but also one of the reasons why I really lean into it is because I can always have that. Especially for y'all international travelers out there, it comes in handy all across Europe and Asia. Period, hands down. Like they are so far ahead of us in the mobile wallet game, it's not even funny. If you pull out a physical card, they don't know what to do sometimes. They will take your money, but I've seen mom and pop shops like, dude, you're really about to hand me a card? Like COVID ain't fully over yet. Like who people are still catching it. Like, no, we only do tap and pay, including United only does tap and pay or a digital wallet.
And until we get digital ID cards, one of your slots in your extra wallet has to be your ID.
It's on the way though.
Oh, it is.
It's in 2 states out of 50 right now, but it's on the way.
I have an app with a mobile ID that I put my that's from New York State. But yeah, no, we're working on it. It's slowly getting there. I think it's Arizona and Ohio that are the two.
It's Arizona, I believe, is one of them. The other one is either Massachusetts or Maine. I think it begins with an M. It's an M state. Either way, I ain't in the 2 states.
No, and being where you are, it's probably gonna be one of the last states to do it.
And unfortunately, I know Illinois is working on it right now, and I don't live in Illinois anymore, so I'm kind of upset. I really don't want to carry a wallet at all anymore.
I'm pretty
Meanwhile,
sure I'm in one of those last states that's going to implement the digital IDs. Yeehaw.
But you'll have a digital hunting license, which for your state might be more important.
Ma'am, it is not a digital hunting license. It's a different card, but monetization and flags, I'm just not worried about that one. We'll just say CC. And if you know, you know, and I'm not talking about credit card.
Yeah. So anyway, let's move on to my topic, and we'll close out with Tariq's because this is the most in depth. So my topic, I recently came across. Well, not recently. I'm aware of how hotel chains do their free night awards, and typically it is there are caps and there are different types of awards that they can give you. If you're in the Hyatt ecosystem, Hyatt has category 1 to 4 free night awards, then they have category 1 to 5 free night awards, then they have category 1 to 7 free night awards based on sort of how many stays you've done and what your loyalty with them is and all of that. No, 1 to 4 can typically get you about $300 a night, 300 to $400 a night. Marriott does the same thing. IHG does the same thing. I believe I'm not aware of any other of the minor programs having free night awards as well. I know Marriott, IHG, Hyatt, and then there's Hilton. Hilton does not have a cap on their free night awards whatsoever. Hilton will let you stay a night at the Waldorf with a free night certificate. Now it just has to be a standard night. It can't be a premium night. But everyone else has, Marriott has 35,000 point nights that you can top up to 50,000 point nights. Then they've got 85,000 point nights that you can top up to 100,000 point nights. Why? Just I would I want to see folks, and I understand that there's a P&L aspect to this, and I understand that it is a spreadsheet that they have to do, but what do we have to do to get uncapped free nights everywhere across the board? Like, if you can't uncap it, I think you just shouldn't bother with it. And that would suck for Hilton. It would suck for Hyatt. It'd be fine for Hilton because Hilton is the leader here. Hotel loyalists first. Do you guys have any feelings about your capped free night awards? And I'll start with Tariq on this one.
So, as of the date of this recording, I am one Hyatt brand away from hitting my first brand explorer. So I'm going to get a free night cert. I think it's a category 1 through 4. I'll have to go back and I'll have to double check and take a look. Regarding that, obviously it would be great if it was uncapped. But for me, in my use case, there are a decent amount of good Hyatt properties that are category 3 and 4. So like just in my home in San Antonio, the highest category you can find is a category 5, and that's the Hyatt Regency Hill Country Resort. The Hyatt Regency downtown and the Grand Hyatt downtown are both category 3s. So on that sense, I'm fine. I can go up to Austin. I can find I think the Regency up there is a category 4, if I'm not mistaken. So I think Hyatt, I'm okay with it being capped since it's capped at the category. And I can just go find like a category 4 or a really nice category 3 that even off peak is going to cost me, I think, like 17,000 points or something like that per night. So in that sense, I'm fine with it. I do have the IHG business card. I won't get that free night certificate until next year, obviously, when I pay the second annual fee. I think you can. I'm trying to look up to see like how much you can top off of. I'm seeing like 10,000 points. So like sure you can 40,000 point certificate. They can get up to 10,000 points. That would be nice if it was uncapped, especially because from like what I've seen, IHD and even in this case, like Marriott's are like more points expensive. So like 40,000 points, if you get there, it's not going to get you like always like a nice property. Like there's the Intercontinental downtown. I just looked, and right now it's looking at you're gonna do like I think like 51 or 52,000 points for a night. Same with the Kimpton in San Antonio as well. So like it would be nice if you can, even if it's just jumping through the hoops like Hilton, where you gotta call them and let them know that you're wanting to book the free net certificate. I think that is worth the hoop to jump if you're gonna get an uncapped night at like whatever hotel you stay at. So I think Hilton does that great. So for Hyatt, I guess I'm okay with it being capped with the categories because you can find like really good value in those certain categories. Hilton, IHG, and Marriott, yeah, let's just uncap them and call it a day.
Sure, Lani.
So before I answer your question, jumping back to mobile driver license, just recently, as of August of 2024, and isn't that where we're at right now? Arizona, California, Colorado, Delaware, Georgia, Iowa, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, Missouri, New York, Ohio, and Utah, and Puerto Rico, which is not a state yet. Waiting on it. So there you go. So you can do mobile driver's license, and once we're done recording, I will be setting mine up. Anyway, jumping back to your questions about the free night awards caps, I don't think they can remove the caps. Now, on the surface, like Hyatt Free Night Award, Hilton Free Night Award, I don't have either of those cards, so I don't have those types of certificates. But as we all know, I've mentioned this earlier in previous episodes that I recently got my IHG card that does two particular things. You could have got an offer for 4 free nights as a welcome offer, or 5 free nights, which is the current one. Or they do fourth night free. The fourth night free is actually a really good one because it's kind of just based on the 3 nights you already use your points for. They just give you the fourth night for free. You just get an extra day added on to it, which is great. But the reason why I say that you can't really uncap it, because if you just said you get 1 free night, and let's just say it is a Waldorf Astoria, then how come I'm not getting the presidential suite? Granted, someone probably already booked it on their free night certificate, but there has to be some type of limitation to it to help prevent that. And as we know, that's why it's like, oh, you can get a standard room for your certificate, not necessarily like the presidential suite or a 2 bedroom suite or anything like that. Um, so yeah, that's why I don't think that they can. I understand why you feel like they should, but I just don't think it's feasible, or it's just going to cause so much headache because it's like, oh, I want them to use my free night certificate, but there's nothing available. Then that just kind of ruins the program, and people are kind of like, turned off on it because they're not getting what they feel is a great value. Same way as we discussed with the IHG Premier, why didn't I switch it to the um, 5 free nights on the 4,000 case sub? Like, well, it caps off at 60, and the intercontinentals and the Kiptons that I want to stay at and the places I want to stay at, I couldn't either. It's over 60 and I got to do extra, or it's way under 60 and I'll just lose out on those remaining points. What if it's 40? Then I lose out on 20,000 points because it's not up to 60. It's up to 60, but it's not 60. You know what I mean? So it's like 1 free night is up to 60, but you picked a room that was only worth 40. So you just forfeited your other 20. There's no real way around it. I think the structure that they have in place is the best that we can receive at the moment.
Now, as a follow-up for you guys specifically, before I jump to RJ, if instead of the free night award, you were to be offered, like, for Hyatt, whatever a redemption at a category 4 would be 4 points, or the 60,000 points from IHG, would you rather jump on the extra points or get an uncapped free night from that hotel issuer? And I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but just want to be clear.
Yeah, I'm going to take the latter and not the former there. So, like, if it's the IHG, just give me 300,000 points. Don't give me 5 worth 60K. Just give me,
Yep.
just give me 300K. And if I burn it all at once, I burn it all at once. But who cares? So I just saved your business some money. I kept a room free because I spent all my money, all my points on one giant room versus spreading them across 5 or 6 different rooms.
So, Tariq, free night or grab you some more points?
So my answer, it depends. For IHG, I'm siding with Lani. Just give me like the 40,000 points instead of the free night cert, because I can probably do more with that. Hyatt, I'm still okay with, like I said, I'm still okay with the category cert, mostly because they're doing like the peak and off peaks and whatnot. And so, like, yeah, I can get like what, 15,000 points for like a free night cert. But like, say I want to book it at category 4 and it's like 18,000 points or however much it is, it would be a top up, but I could book that same category with it being a peak night and I still get the value for it. So IHG, yes. Hyatt, no.
RJ, any thoughts here?
I hate free night certificates and I avoid cards that give them. Now, if it's you just get one every year, but you had a sign up bonus with points, then I'm fine with that because whatever. But like the Marriott business card, I'm not getting unless they change the sub to not be free nights. Because for me, I want points because I can do more. Sometimes I do cash and points depending on what it is and what the breakdown is. Sometimes that just works better for my situation. Sometimes I get the free room and the people I'm traveling with give me money. They don't need to know that I booked mine on points. That's between me and whatever deity I believe in. So it becomes this thing where if I have points, things are more flexible for me. So I avoid them when I can. And I'm a Hilton fan and I still kind of avoid them because I don't want to have to deal with the extra stuff, the cruff that comes with it, right? I don't have to deal with any of that. I want to have my points. I want to book my room. I want to know what I'm getting. I want life to be as I have intended when I book this trip. So yeah, for me, I avoid it. Um, if I have one, if somebody bequeathed it to me, would I use it? Yes. Would I grumble a little bit? Potentially, but there are very few things in life that I don't grumble at least a little bit. But you know, I that's who I am as a person. I have grown up to be Garfield, and this is where we are in life.
Totally fair. Yeah, I'd much rather have the points, and after redeeming a Hilton free night award and then being pushed to a Hilton time, signing up for a Hilton timeshare right after. I know I could have ended the call before I got to the Hilton timeshare portion of the things, but that being part of the push did sour things a little bit. But I still would take the uncapped room at the Waldorf and then roll the dice on a upgrade, especially if I had the Hilton Aspire, because that would be a pretty nice upgrade. And I just want to get a free to uncap night at the JW Marriott and the Parquet Hyatt as well, because I'm greedy. So let's move on to our last topic of the night. That would be Tariq.
All right, I guess I got the philosophical topic again, so that's why I'm going last. So my topic, I was going through YouTube videos and I was end up watching a good buddy Michael Wong from Long Way Travels. He posted a video, it was like 2 weeks ago, titled "Is Getting New Credit Cards an Addiction?" And it had me thinking of me starting to point some miles in credit cards and think about how many cards that I've accumulated in the last like 6 months since I got my first one. So I got the Freedom Flex in February of this year. I got the Sapphire Preferred in May. I got the Ink Unlimited in June, and I'm working on the IHG Premier Business. I got that like a week or two ago. Almost gonna hit that sub. And now that I know I'm gonna hit that sub, I'm already looking for the next card to hit. And whether it be like a smash and grab sub card or something that I will look into my more long-term strategy and keep. Right now, I'm looking at that Hyatt business mostly because I like Hyatt stays, and I'm like, okay, cool, I could smash and grab 200, and it'll actually somewhat put me at bay because I'm gonna actually try to do the 2-tier bonus. But it had me think, am I addicted to getting new cards in the credit card game? Not to like an extent where I'm piling up debt and overspending and whatnot, but just the kind of like to me, it's almost like getting a hit and like getting that new like rush of like, oh, got approved. Oh, cards in the mail. Oh, time to activate it. Put it in my mobile wallet and just like spend, hit the bonus. And I'm like, could I stop? Like, obviously the answer is yes, but like, do I want to? And like, I've already got like 13 cards, and I already plan on opening like maybe another one or two this year. And then like, I already have like 4 cards mapped out for next year, and then like another 2 cards like the year after that. So I'm like, yeah, kind of an obsession. So I just want to think, and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna just ask the group today and see what they think. If they think that having like opening new cards or playing the game, the credit cards is an addiction. And Lani, I think I'm just gonna start with you this time.
I actually like this question. Um, the short answer is yes, but the tenure of it can be different. So at some point, we all get there where we're like, the endorphins, the dopamine effect, it all kicks in at some point, at some level. It doesn't mean it's going to be like astronomical level, but at some point you're like, "Ooh, man, I got that sign up bonus, and I got my new card, and for the next like 2 months and 28 days, it only said I had like 300 something points, and then tomorrow you see it says you have 80,000 points or 100,000 points. You're like, oh, snap. Like, oh, like it's time to book something, right? Like you really feel good that you've accomplished something. So that's what I mean at all levels. Now, some of us are going to be, as Tariq, as you mentioned it, way more addicted to it or have way more dopamine effect than someone else, maybe like a novice or a beginner. For that novice or a beginner, as you had mentioned, once you get to like your fourth card, fifth card, it's probably going to be a little bit higher. But because of that, with everything that always happens, especially with endorphins and dopamine, it goes up and it comes down. Unless it's a drug and you're literally addicted to that drug, then there's a different story. But if you're not addicted to drug, maybe you just like Diet Coke. Eventually you get tired of Diet Coke. You can't drink it for the entire life. Eventually you're going to come off of that where you lose that, call it a high, if you will. But so to answer your question, yes, at some point we all will in this credit card game. If you start getting into the fives, tens, 15s, at some point between 1 and 15, yeah, you're gonna have like a credit card addiction. Period. Maybe it's only 3 cards, maybe it's 4, whatever, but you're gonna have to go through it. But that's just natural. And like I said, it's the same as what's the difference between obsession, passion, and love? They're just different levels of the exact same thing, and you're going to feel it in this credit card game. But does that mean that we're all addicted? No, I think I'm on the way down where I'm literally, I look at new credit cards in a very strategic manner. Do I really need to sign up for another card? I think we talked about this, like the Ink Business Preferred with the 120K, and I was like, I'm passing on it. Me at a different point in my life, maybe even a couple of years ago, especially if it was before during COVID, where sign up bonuses were coming in easy. Oh yeah, I would have been got to get it, got that itch. Where's it at? Give me that new sign up bonus. 'Cause I was stacking up so many points during COVID because everyone was traveling less. But now that I'm starting to travel again, I don't really care about the credit cards as much as I talked about, like how we opened up the show. I'm getting my dopamine effect on using all these points that I was able to accumulate over that 4 year period where I'm looking at my trips and things like that. And like, I just sat with my wife the other night. We just booked 2 or 3 more trips. And we're like, man, we got like 1 trip a month for almost the next year at minimum. Like, that's so I've kind of like switched. To answer your question, the short answer is yes. You will have a credit card addiction at some point if you start getting into this game. Somewhere after, I would probably say 4 or 5 cards is when it kicks in. Could be later, could be sooner. It will fall off, but it will also transition into something else. Either you just kind of get out of the game, or like I said, I'm right now transitioning my addiction or high to actual bookings, which is going to turn into the actual travels themselves.
Yeah, it's definitely a different case because I am year one of points and miles. So I'm like earning all the miles and like I got hit with the elevated sapphire preferred offer. So I'm like, okay, give me all the points, give me all the miles, but I'm also redeeming at the same time. So I'm getting it like twofold for me.
Yeah, and I would actually say this community does not help. We are also enablers in it as well. So, um, end of last week, Matt and I were having a private conversation. We were just chatting back. Was it last week, Matt? Where we were just like, got all these miles, and like, you should go burn your miles and buy a TV. Let's go buy a laptop with our miles. And it's like, we don't help when, as someone that's getting into the game like Tariq is, but then you have someone like RJ or Matt or myself where I'm like, oh, I got 400,000 on this card, 400,000 on that card. I just got another 500,000 because I got these two chase cards earlier, or 2 or 3 chase cards earlier this year, and you're sitting there with like, man, I only got 80. I gotta get up like the rest of them. We're enablers in this too. So there's so many different
Yes.
levels, but yes, at some point you're gonna feel addicted. You're gonna be keeping up with the Joneses. You're gonna be itchy in the neck, getting them red rocks. Yeah, you're gonna get there, but it'll it'll pass.
Y'all got any more of them sign up bonuses? Need one of them little subs. All right, RJ. I know you are outside of Chase's good graces, and you've hit you went high velocity yourself. Where do you sit on the stance of credit card addiction?
So I've gotten 12 credit cards in 2024.
Okay, I think I know the answer.
Amex keeps approving me. What can I say? We're friends. I scratch their back, they scratch mine. 9 of my 12 are Amex cards. So Amex and I are on very good terms right now.
Going back to feeling itchy, Amex is your dealer at this point.
But here's the
They are
thing.
a good dealer.
Here's the
say,
thing.
Yeah, I got that. The
I
Amex is just
don't-
like at your corner.
The only card I will ever carry a balance on is the Blue Business Plus because it's 0 APR right now. So if I have something I want to pay off in 3 months, I just stick it on the Blue Business Plus and just pay it off in 3 months, right? So I think that's the difference. I think, yes, is there a dopamine high on getting a new card, that feeling of I got approved for this? Yes, when I got my gold card and my platinum card, did I feel like like cool, like moment, even though, it's not that hard to get the gold or the platinum in the current market, but did it feel good? Yeah. But there's not that overspending to the point where I'm in trouble, right? I'm not, my car's not in danger of being repossessed. My house isn't in danger of being repossessed. Anything like that's not happening, right? There's no negative consequences to these cards. Does it hurt my soul a little bit when that $695 for the business platinum is going to come out in a few weeks? Yes. The place where my soul would be is in pain, but such is life for those 250,000 points that will come my way after we put a new HVAC system in my house. So, positive, negative. But to be serious for a second, I think if you're getting new cards but not overspending, then I would probably say that's not an actual addiction, like in the actual need to seek help way, right? Like if you have a total of 15 cards and less than $1,000 of actual balance across all of those cards, and you can pay that off every month and you're not, in danger of anything, I think you're okay, right? I also think, as somebody who has a bunch of cards, and I think I'm probably at the midpoint on this podcast, you start diluting spend. Like my platinum, I don't have as much of platinum doesn't really have balance, but my pay over time balance has gone down, which is an indication of what Amex would reasonably let me put on that card because there isn't a limit. So I have to sort of guess, right? Because you don't tip for new people, don't play with the spend limit tool in Amex. That will eventually get some negative things to come your way, right? So I don't do that tool. So I use the pay as you go balance as sort of an indicator. That has gone down a little bit, not to any place that I'm scared of, but like like my spending is less on the platinum because I have other cards to spend on. So those are things that you have to negotiate, right? If you get a lot of cards, which I love getting new cards, right? Like I got 3 cards in June, within like a week and a half of each other. Everything was great. I felt awesome. And, the reality is that those cards are cards that I wanted, cards that I had a reason to get. Everything is good. But if I start getting to the point where if you at this point of my credit journey, not at the beginning where I don't know what I'm doing and you get Capital One cards because you don't understand how points work. No offense to Capital One fans, but seriously. But like if I just randomly went out and got the, Capital One Saver one right now, like that's a cry for help, right? Because my points and miles journey is in a place where that card doesn't make sense, but I was pre-approved for it, so I wanted it. Like, that's the cry for help, right? Like, when you start doing things like that, I got the card because I was pre-approved and wanted a new card, but the sub doesn't make sense and the spend doesn't make sense and none of that makes sense. That's when I think we're crossing the territory into a very detailed plan and a very passionate hobby to a potential problem. And I think you, Tariq, are sometimes flirting with that line, but you do have a very clear plan in place, which I think makes it not, am I nervous for you sometimes? Am I actually like gonna like text your girlfriend and be like, hey, maybe take his social security number away from him so he can't apply for anything new for a little while? No, we're not there yet, right? Like it becomes that moment where, yes, do you want a new card? Yes, but you have a reason for that card. Having a reason for the card makes it less dangerous. You're not carrying balances, you're not doing things like that. So I think passionate hobby is a way station on the view of addiction. If you're not overspending, you're okay.
Yeah, the credit card dilution thing is definitely a real thing because, like I said, just working on the IHG Premier Business, which, yes, I got that card because I'm eventually going to stay at an IHG this year. Um, I've put, all the spend that I was putting on like my Sapphire Preferred on like dining has been going on the IHG, so I can just earn the sub and earn the points on that. And yeah, I am definitely more on detailed plan with them. Like I said, Hyatt Business is the only exception because I'm like, okay, cool, 75,000 points. I'll get like the 5 night credits and like, cool. Am I paying a little bit more because I'm going to pay the $200 fee? Yeah, sure. But I'm still like on detailed plan and not to where I'm at needing 12-step plan. Um, that's where I fall on that. Matt, where do you stand on this? I know you've had a few Wells Fargo cards, especially the Signify Cash for some subs. So, what's your take?
So I largely resonate with what RJ said, and I resonate with Lani as well. I think as long as to parrot RJ, as long as you have a plan for the spend, if you're getting 0% cards and you're able to finish your 0% without a balance, I think that's fine. I think there comes a line, and it can kind of come. The dopamine hits are definitely nice. I know that I haven't applied for 12 cards this year, but I have gotten at least 5 between the JetBlue Business, the Wells Fargo Signify, the Wells Fargo Attune, the Ink Cash. I just got the Blue Business Plus. So yeah, that's 5. I'm trying to remember if I forgot a card. No, because I haven't gotten any personal cards this year besides the Attune. I think if you're able to pay everything off and you have your plan to pay everything off, that's great. I think if your strategy and your thinking becomes, oh, how am I going to turn this card into another card in the same family so that I can use that card's features to spend as much as I need to for that and build out my spend to such a way that I am spending, 10, 15, $20,000 a month to keep getting points that accrue into this big pile that I have no idea how I'm going to use. I think that's a problem. And even if you can pay it off, like if your mindset is, how do I take this card, turn it into another card because this other card has this other thing that I need to do to tell myself that it's okay, that becomes a problem. But if you have a set plan for your cards, if you have an idea of what your cards are going to do, what roles your cards are playing, and you are able to, stay on top of everything, I don't think it's necessarily a problem because you can always change tactics. Like I keep primarily transferable currencies, and like I'm trying to build transferable currencies at all times. Why? Because I want to be able to, if I need to move 20,000 points to United to book a United economy seat to like hurt my soul, I can do that. Or if I need to move, 10,000 points over to JetBlue to redeem a JetBlue flight, cool. Or if I want to liquidate some points to buy another Breeze ticket, I want to have that flexibility. So for me, it's keeping those points transferable. But if something makes sense for me or is in an ecosystem that I like Hyatt, getting a Hyatt card in time doesn't hurt or add to an addiction because I have a plan for that card. It's when you're just getting cards when you have no idea what to do with them. Like at this point, I don't see myself getting any city cards anytime soon, unless I have a need for city. So I think if there's a plan, I think if there's a way that, the cards can work for you and you're in tune with what your plan is, that's great. If you're just trying to get, your 15th, your 20th, your 35th city customized cash card so that you can do 35 times $500 a month, no. But if your strategy is, I've got 3 custom caches, these are the rules they play for $1,500 a month, okay, maybe. But I'm just starting to repeat myself here, so I do apologize for that. As long as you have a plan for things, you're good. The dopamine hits are great. And as long as you have an off-ramp for yourself, you're in good shape. So I think I'll leave it there.
So United hurts your soul, but JetBlue is cool?
No. Booking United Basic Economy would hurt my soul. I'll sit in Comfort Plus. I'll sit, or the United equivalent
Economy
of Comfort Plus.
Yeah,
Economy Plus. Booking that last row in the middle, right next to the bathroom. I don't want to sit there. I want to sit somewhere nice.
Yeah, nobody wants to sit there. Nobody don't even put their kids there. But going back to the initial question there, Tariq. In this community, man, I know a lot of people that just got really addicted or hyped or dopamine hitted on a white gold Amex card, and that faded so fast.
Oh, it was like a rush, and then back
I think
to
the rush was
their
actually
program.
applying for it versus actually having it.
It wasn't even the application. It was the speculation. It was like everyone was standing at speculation station just waiting for the train to get there because they don't know what the train's going to look like or where it's going to go. But we know there's a train.
I'm not talking about the benefits or the changes. I'm talking about the actual physical white gold.
Yeah,
getting the card.
That is true.
The white gold is beautiful. I don't want to hear it.
I agree. I love it.
We knew somebody that was on the station.
I got mine in my physical and my digital wallet.
I do also.
I just love how people were so completely underwhelmed when they actually saw the physical card that it almost made the hype for it just hilarious.
People don't understand Amex, and it's okay. Amex, you can keep giving me cards and I will keep loving you because that's the relationship we have, and they just don't understand us.
RJ,
Creepy.
are you okay?
I love Amex the way Matt loves Wells Fargo. That's where I'm leaving it tonight.
I don't think Matt loves Wells Fargo the way you love Amex. Because Matt is still quite critical of Wells Fargo. I don't think I've ever heard you throwing a criticism at Amex's way yet.
I throw criticisms at Amex all the time. The worst card on the current worst card on the market is an Amex card.
I mean, yes, but it's one of those that you can just ignore.
Do you know which card I'm talking about is the question.
You brought it up earlier today.
No, I didn't.
What?
Well, not
Are you
really.
talking about the cash magnet?
No.
Okay.
Business Green.
Oh yeah.
The Business Green is the worst card on the market. Anyway, no, I'm critical of Amex all the time. I just, this is an entertainment podcast, so I got to play it up a little bit, Tariq. Come on now.
Fine, fair enough.
Look, Amex has hidden subs and They do 4x on groceries. And as someone with a toddler that spends a lot on groceries, they're good. They're good. They work out. It just works.
All right. So before we get too into placating our preferred issuers of choice, we'll wrap it up there. The last thing I did want to say is that for everyone on this podcast, for those of you listening to the podcast, just remember that when it comes to the general credit card population, we are not normal, but we are loving every minute of it.
We are basking in our weirdness.
Hey, Matt, do you want to tell the people how this podcast is about to change wildly?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's jump into that. So we are breaking up the podcast into a couple of different means for engagement on YouTube. So there will be a basic segment that is going to come out on Mondays. We will have Wednesdays now is going to be our Q&A, I believe is Wednesday.
Wednesday is going to be the main show, which is going to be the topics and if there's any news. And then Friday will be the Q&A. Saturday, I'm going to post the entire show. So if you want start to finish, you can listen to that on Saturday. But we're going to break it up because sometimes we go a little long on Q&A or topics or whatever. And it's nice to have an hour chunk instead of a 2-hour chunk.
Or today, 2.5. So with that, RJ, if folks want to find you, where's the best place to find you on the interwebs?
You can find me answering comments to this podcast because Tariq still hasn't put up a YouTube channel. But when he does, you can find me at Do You Take Cards?
And Lani, where can we find you?
I got nothing funny tonight. You're gonna find me in bed. It is absolutely late, y'all. So I know you're probably watching this at like 9, 10 a.m. or listening to this at 9, 10 a.m. It is not that time when we're recording it. So I got nothing funny. But I am on YouTube at my channel name is Call Me Lani, all one word. Lani spelled Lani. Come over, say hi, say you came to the podcast. Hit that subscribe button. I really do appreciate it. I'm actually pushing my way towards 3,000 right now. So I would really appreciate your support.
Fantastic. Tariq, where can we find you on the internet since it's not a YouTube channel?
Well, you can find me at Lot C of the Alamo Dome because football season is back and I am an avid UTSA football fan. So, I'll also be in the Second Points podcast, Discord. But other than that, God bless and birds up.
RJ, I'm so sorry that it's going to be like March before you're able to upload again.
Oh yeah, college football's back. Don't even you picked the wrong
You
time.
don't even have to put a video out, sir. Just start the channel.
Start a channel. Just start a channel. Just start a channel. Just start a channel. If you want to leave us comments, please do on the YouTube channel. Find us on your favorite podcatcher of choice, be it Icecast, Pocket Cast, Castro, Overcast, Apple Podcasts, Audible, Spotify. I am running out of, I think Pandora does podcasts now. Wherever you find your podcasts, we are there. Leave us a comment down below on the YouTube channel if you want to as well. Leave us those 5-star reviews. We will talk to you guys next week. Thanks for watching.
Real quick, Matt. Real quick, before we officially bow out, going back to Tariq starting his channel. For all y'all that are listening here, I know we just started this a couple of weeks, maybe a couple months ago. Let's do a digital petition. In the comments, say, Tariq, you start a channel and I will subscribe. That's at least 100 subscribers right there, Tariq. So we get enough people.
But then I gotta actually post the video because I'm gonna have like 100-something subscribers.
Shut up.
That was never the deal.
Do something.
Shut up.
That was never the deal.
I'm still talking because this is for the people that are supporting you and listening to you in your nonsense week after week after week. If they drop it in the comments saying, I will support Tariq's new channel or Tariq must create a channel, you cannot ignore the listeners and viewers of RJ, Matt, and myself. Thus, you have to do it. And we know we're kicking you off right because all these people are also going to sub to your brand new channel as well. I think we need a digital petition. We're not asking you anymore. The community's asking. Your listeners are asking. Are you going to ignore your listeners, because you're not going to ignore my listeners, and I'm pretty sure RJ and Matt feel the same. Thank you very much, y'all. Y'all have a great night.
I hate y'all. I love the viewers, but I'm talking to my three co-hosts. I hate y'all right now.
Again, you don't have to post a video. Just have to start the channel. Put up a little community post. Channel coming soon. UTSA football first.
And
That's
then
it.
UTSA basketball.
Sir, you're pushing your luck. With
That's
that,
the reason why I'm in the corner.
thanks for watching Stack Your Points. We'll be back next week. Thanks as always.